Why the fuck you in my face? Like I said, put the shirt on. Put the shirt on. Hold on, why the fuck you don't put it? It's an elderly man. He's that height. Right now, it's an elderly. That's someone's grandfather. All right, that's someone's grandfather. That's someone's grandfather. Hold on. I touched him.
This is crazy. Oh,
now get out. Now get out. Pull up. Now get out. Now get out.
Pull up, y'all.
Now get out.
Knocked out.
Now get out.
Now get out.
Get out. No, get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
Get out.
Get out.
Get the fuck out.
Get out. Get out.
Yeah. Get out. Yeah. The little homie said, get out of here, son. Yeah. Fuck your OCD.
That's mad crazy. That dude was up there talking to that old man like that at McDonald's. Old man was just trying to clean up, do his job. He probably, was the guy working there who, was just cleaning up, making sure the trays and stuff get done, stuff like that. And he come up there messing with it now. It's a good thing these guys was there because they protected this old man. We seen situations where people in trip snap act crazy at restaurants against the workers. Well, this case, we had some customers who was there to, go ahead and step in, let them know, hey, you gotta leave. You can't be messing with this dude. It's somebody's grandpa, man.
Keith was unfortunately shot and currently bleeding out.
Robinson 911, what's your emergency? I got it this morning. I was in my son's room because I didn't sleep. My back door was open. My husband's guns, they're all gone.
We're going to start off with Darlene Doss Coswell. She was known growing up to be the pretty girl of the school, and that is when she met Keith Gentry. He asked Darlene to marry him in 1999. Keith was growing a lot more unhappy, and although Keith was very sad in this marriage, he wasn't going to give up on him and Darlene. He was going to be there for his family because he truly did love his family so much. So then on November 9th of 2005 at around 6 a.m., the Robinson, Texas police station receives a 911 call from Darlene saying that a burglar had broken into their house, stole all of Keith's gun, and Keith was unfortunately shot and currently bleeding out.
There's blood on the bed. He is struggling.
Darlene tells the dispatcher that last night she had fallen asleep in the boys' bedroom, and when she woke up, she went into the kitchen, realized that the back door was open. Then she went into the living room and realized that all the guns in Keith's cabinet was gone. She went to go get Keith, and that is when she found Keith lying on the bed, blood surrounded all around him. And upon arrival, the police right off the bat sensed that there's something else going on here because there is guns stacked up on top of each other very neatly. They started to connect the dots very quickly that these were Keith's guns, but they didn't understand that why would the burglar neatly stack the guns in the front yard. They take Keith and transport him to a hospital. A detective shows up to the scene to investigate what happened. He finds that there is no signs of forced entry, and the back door was just wide open and it was actually unlocked. He goes over to the gun cabinet and he realizes that Keith's cabinet actually has a lock on it. Darlene said that they always kept the cabinet that held all of the guns locked at all times, and they had a key sitting on top of the cabinet. The only people that knew where this key was Keith and Darlene. But then when they looked at Keith, he had absolutely no self-defense wounds on him. He looked completely normal. They also thought it was odd said that Darlene, a registered nurse, didn't step in and perform some sort of first aid on Keith. So then at around 5 p.m. during the interrogation, the police receive a phone call from the hospital. They stopped the interrogation and drove Darlene to the hospital. Darlene signed the papers for Keith to be taken off of life support, and just a few minutes after, he unfortunately passed away. The police were examining all of the evidence. They were looking through all of the gun certificates and receipts, but he was missing one of his guns, 22 caliber, and they found that the bullet found in Keith's head was indeed a 22 caliber bullet. Police started to dive in that maybe there was a financial motive. Keith actually had 2 life insurance policies totaled around $750,000. So by the end of November, not even a month after Keith had been shot, he was looking to buy a new home with all of this life insurance money. There's this one specific piece of land that had a big pond. So Darlene asked Robert, hey, did this land come with the pond? And he's like, yeah. And Darlene said in that moment, I'll take it then. So then by the end of December, they go out there to check out the land one last time. Darlene says to Robert that she doesn't want the pond anymore, and if there's a way for her to not have the pond on her land. And so Robert's like, that's not how buying property works. Robert just felt deep in his heart that there was something odd going on, and he calls his police officer friend, and they're thinking that the murder weapon is probably in that pond. They sent a diver team out to the pond, and they found Keith's missing 22 caliber sitting at the bottom of the pond. The police wanted a little bit more evidence. What they decide to do is tell Darlene, hey, in order to fill the pond, we actually need to drain the pond first. There is a hidden camera recording the entire thing. They caught Darlene on camera going over to the pond, and she's poking at the same exact area as the gun was found. So over the course of this 15-minute clip, you can tell that as time goes on, she starts to become a lot more restless, a lot more frantic. Darlene was arrested on the first-degree murder, and although there was no confession, there was a lot of evidence to point her to the crime. Eventually, they came to a verdict, and the jury found her guilty of the murder of her husband, Keith Gentry, and sentenced her to 60 years in prison.
Man, that's sad. This beautiful soul right here, man. He was trying to make something, trying to keep his family together, you know what I'm saying, live up to his wedding vows. And she selfishly thought about herself when she did this. Now, the story, I don't know. The story was weird. I don't know what plan she had, why she went and looked at, you know what I'm saying, the property she went and looked at, this and that. And it's funny that they sat her up and saw how she was acting. And you know what I'm saying? They ain't even get like a real confession or nothing. But just the body language is what spoke volume. And that's all they needed to know. And then they had her on camera trying to fish the gun out. Like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? So that's funny. You know, the one gun, the one key thing that they needed, they was able to recover because of her. Lead them to it. And that's the universe, baby.